ProWrestling.com with the WWE Raw Wrestlers of the Week for the May 2nd episode of the program. And this was a show that revolved pretty heavily around The Rock's 39th birthday celebration. And as a result, by comparison, there was less wrestling over the course of the program. However, there was still some good in-ring action throughout the night. And coming in at our number 3 wrestler of the week is Mason Ryan. Since coming up to Raw as a member of the New Nexus, Ryan hasn't had a lot of opportunities to go ahead and shine on his own, but he did receive this opportunity to take part in what would be considered the evening's main event against Kane. And though this was a short match, Mason Ryan was still very impressive both during and after the match itself. He took the fight to Kane pretty early on and really staggered the big man during the first minute or so of the match itself. Kane did rally back toward the end, which caused CM Punk to interfere on Ryan's behalf. Unfortunately for Ryan, that did cause the referee to call for a disqualification that put the victory in Kane's pocket. But after the match, when Kane tried to chokeslam Ryan himself, Ryan did grab Kane's hand and pulled it right off of his throat, and Slam came down right down to the mat to go ahead and deliver some punishment to the Big Red Machine, countering that chokeslam attempt. After that, the New Nexus members joined in with Ryan to deliver further punishment to Kane, which of course brought the Big Show down, who is the co-tag team championship holder, alongside Kane. While Show made some pretty easy work of David Otunga and Michael McGillicuddy, and then followed tossing them out of the ring with the headbutt to CM Punk, he was on the receiving end of a pretty monstrous spear by Mason Ryan, which put him down on the mat right beside his fallen tag team partner as well. So after that, Mason Ryan headed up toward the ramp and looked to be going toward the back, leaving the rest of his New Nexus members all the way back by the ring, which confused CM Punk and the rest of the New Nexus members as to why Mason Ryan was essentially leaving them behind. And we'll see where that storyline goes, whether this is just sort of a one-time thing, or whether this is potentially leading to Ryan going on in his own singles career. But as far as this one night is concerned, Ryan did receive a pretty good opportunity to shine on his own, which he hasn't received very much of since coming up to the Big Show on Monday Night Raw. By going ahead and delivering both punishing blows to Kane and even the Big Show with that pretty solid spear over there. So he comes in at the number 3 wrestler of the week. And number 2, we have both Rey Mysterio and Kofi Kingston, who come over to Raw right now as their first official night as members of the Raw brand, coming over, of course, from Friday Night SmackDown as a result of the WWE draft that took place last week. And both guys were coming off some pretty solid victories from the Extreme Rules pay-per-view that took place one night previous to Raw. Rey Mysterio took part in a singles match against Cody Rhodes, which was a Falls Count Anywhere match, essentially a rematch from their WrestleMania 27 showdown, which was just a regular one-on-one bout. And Rey Mysterio was able to get the victory after breaking out the Green Mist and following up with the 619 and Springboard Splash that put Rhodes out for the 1-2-3. And as far as Kofi Kingston is concerned, he had a singles match against Sheamus with the United States Championship on the line in a tables match. And Sheamus was actually put through the table with the boom drop from Kingston on the outside that Kingston delivered from all the way up from the top rope of the ring itself. So Kingston with a very impressive victory over Sheamus to go ahead and capture the United States Championship and bring it over with him on Raw. And those two teamed up, Mysterio and Kingston, to take on another set of new faces coming over from SmackDown to Raw as a result of the draft, in the form of Jack Swagger and Drew McIntyre. And for a good portion of the match, Swagger and McIntyre were on top and did take the fight to Mysterio and Kingston. But later on in the match, when Kingston was in a situation where McIntyre was trying to suplex him, he was able to actually counter out of that and get a hot tag into Mysterio. Mysterio followed by putting McIntyre down on the mat and attempting a pin attempt. However, Swagger was able to come in and make the save. Unfortunately for Swagger, he wasn't able to do much more damage after that, as Kingston took him out of the ring and then followed up with the Trouble in Paradise right on McIntyre to set Mysterio up to hit him with a 619 and follow off with a splash off the top rope that went ahead and delivered them the victory as a tag team. And Alberto Del Rio, who was doing commentary at the ringside area during the entire match itself, and made some pretty degrading remarks toward Mysterio as he had done during their time on SmackDown. He attempted to sneak attack Mysterio after that successful pin attempt. But Mysterio saw him coming in and delivered a dropkick through the ropes to send Del Rio essentially reeling back toward the announce table. So it appears as if that's the program we have coming up now, another one between Mysterio and Del Rio. And as far as Kingston is concerned, we're not really sure yet what's on tap for him, but there's definitely something on the horizon as he has the United States Championship, and something has to be going forward for him as well. So, speaking of champions, coming in at the #1 wrestler of the week is John Cena, who managed to recapture the WWE Championship after not having it for a good 10 months, losing it back in June of last year. As a result of being involved in that whole Nexus fiasco when they first arrived on the scene. But John Cena was able to go ahead and get that WWE title back at Extreme Rules when he stepped inside a cage with both John Morrison and The Miz in a three-way match with the title on the line. And Morrison was pretty well taken out of the equation by R-Truth, who interfered in that match itself, which really left Cena and Miz alone to duke it out toward the later stages of the match itself. And while The Miz tried to finish Cena off with the skull-crushing finale off the top rope, all the way back down to the mat, Cena managed to counter it and instead hit Miz with an attitude adjustment from the top all the way back down to the canvas. And he scored the 3 count as a result of that, and once again became the WWE Champion. That was his 10th heavyweight championship title reign. And he went into Monday Night Raw with it, with a big question mark over it, because Miz was decided to go ahead and cash in his rematch clause right away and try to make Cena's 10th title reign one of the 24-hour variety. So Cena had to see if he can go ahead and answer that challenge. And the difference between this was it was just Cena and Miz straight one-on-one without a steel cage surrounding the ring. And this time, Alex Riley, who has actually been drafted over to SmackDown, but is still Miz's assistant, Alex Riley would be at the ringside area. And Riley did play a pretty significant role in this match itself. When Miz and Cena did actually just go at it by themselves, it was a pretty solid match, but shenanigans toward the end did decide it. When the referee was taken out of the equation toward the later end of the match, Cena did apply the STF to Miz, which forced Miz to tap out, but with no referee in the ring to go ahead and make any kind of call, the match still continued. From that point, Riley entered the ring with a briefcase in hand. Cena stopped him from doing any damage by going ahead and lifting him up on his shoulders, but by that point, Miz was able to go ahead and regroup himself, grab the briefcase, and nail Cena in the gut with it, following up with a skull-crushing finale that allowed him to cover. But by the time the referee was sent back into the ring and started making the count, it only resulted in a 2 when Cena counted out at that number. And then Cena was able to come right back at Miz with an attitude adjustment, but the Miz was able to kick out of that as well to go ahead and make basically an even exchange of their finishing maneuvers. By that point, the referee started to count, started a 10 count, and Miz got another idea in his head. With Riley going ahead and distracting the referee while standing on the ring apron, he grabbed the WWE Championship that had been placed essentially by one of the turnbuckles, and he nailed Cena in the head with it. And while the referee was still distracted, Miz conveniently placed that title in between his body and Cena's to nicely hide it from the referee. When he came back in and started making the count, the ref did count to 3, and at first, this was an official victory for The Miz that basically made Cena's 10th heavyweight title run one of a 24-hour variety. But when Miz and Riley decided to celebrate after the match, the championship itself came flying out of Miz's hands, and the referee wondered exactly how Miz got hold of that title. So once he finally put 2 and 2 together and figured out what Miz had done, he went ahead and reversed his decision. And instead of Miz going ahead and getting that title back rather quickly, he went ahead and instead suffered a disqualification loss that went ahead and kept the belt right around John Cena's waist. And while Miz and Riley decided to argue at that point, Cena came in and delivered clotheslines to both and matching attitude adjustments to go ahead and just show that he was still the top dog with the title as a result of that DQ win. And to go ahead and just further heighten himself, he went and crashed The Rock's birthday celebration that was in the back, just to go in and enlighten the Great One as to the fact that he had the WWE title and every intention of holding on to it over the course of the year to bring with him the WrestleMania 28 when those two go at it. You know, what's probably going to go down as one of the biggest matches in WWE history. So John Cena coming out with a pretty good night, going ahead and holding on to that title one night after capturing it from The Miz after not having it for 10 pretty long months. So once again, coming in at the number 3 wrestler of the week is Mason Ryan, and number 2 we have both Rey Mysterio and Kofi Kingston at at number 1, the new WWE Champion, John Cena. Once again, this has been Neil Borenstien with the WWE Raw Wrestlers of the Week for the May 2nd episode of the program, right here on OneWrestling.com.